Welcome back to the podcast, everyone, episode 299, and oh man, do we have a juicy one today. The tech world is buzzing, and it's all about NVIDIA's latest GPU moves, or should I say, their chess game, Mark?
It really is, David. It feels like NVIDIA's been playing this intricate game of chess, and we're just trying to keep up. Everyone's asking, what's happening with the latest NVIDIA GPU? And the answer, as always, is layered.
Layered, but captivating. For the longest time, the RTX 4090 was this undisputed king. Released back in 2022, it dominated everything in its path, especially for 4K gaming and serious content creation. 24 gigs of VRAM? That was unheard of for a consumer card then.
Precisely. It quickly became the default choice for anyone serious about high-end gaming or, intriguingly, local AI model training, which I think even caught NVIDIA a little off guard. But now, we've got the new contender, the RTX 5090, which officially launched earlier this year.
The 5090. And right there, Jenny, we hit our first interesting point. Because while the 5090 is objectively more powerful, we're talking a 33% increase in CUDA cores, going from 16,384 on the 4090 to a significant 21,760 on the 5090. And an impressive 76% increase in memory bandwidth. The 4090 is still holding its own in this, what I call, transition paradox. It's not a clear-cut victory.
Okay, wait. A 76% bandwidth increase? That's like taking a bike lane and turning it into a 12-lane superhighway. How on earth did they manage that? Is that where the Blackwell architecture comes in? And the rumors of a modular design?
Exactly. That's the Blackwell architecture. Specifically the GB202 chip. They've moved to a new manufacturing process, a 4nm node, and adopted a dual-die designs. So it's essentially two GPU brains working together seamlessly, which allows for that immense memory bandwidth. We're talking 32 gigs of GDDR7 memory now, screaming along at 30 gigabits per second on a wider 512-bit bus. It's a technical marvel.
So, bigger, faster, more. Everything. But you mentioned a transition paradox. Is it just because the 4090 is still such a capable card, or is there something else at play that makes professionals stick with what some might call older hardware?
Oh, there's definitely something else at play, and it leads us directly into our next big point. The power crisis. The RTX 5090 isn't just bigger and faster. It's also a power-hungry behemoth. The thermal design power, or TDP, has jumped from 450 watts on the 4090 to a significant 575 watts on the 5090. That's a 28% increase in power draw.
575 watts? For a single component in a home PC? My toaster probably uses less and it glows red. Is this GPU going to need its own dedicated circuit breaker? Are we talking commercial kitchen levels of power here?
You're not far off, Jenny. This isn't just about plugging it into your wall and calling it a day. This is causing cascading effects throughout the PC ecosystem. Power supply units, or PSUs, previously thought sufficient for the 4090's 850 watt recommendation, now need to be 1000 watts minimum for the 5090, and not just any 1000 watt PSU, but ones with new ATX 3.1 compliance for those massive transient power spikes.
So people are buying a powerful card and then realizing they need to upgrade a significant portion of their system just to run it. No wonder some pros are sticking with the 4090. If it ain't broke, and it's already consuming a fair bit of power, why throw more money and heat at the problem for what might be diminishing returns in their specific workflow?
Precisely. And the heat. Oh man, the heat. Air-cooled 5090s are pushing 95 degrees Celsius under load, causing thermal throttling. We're hearing reports of system builders having to completely rethink cooling, often needing custom liquid solutions. And even Corsair has reported PSU failures tied to the 16-pin connector from these sustained, demanding power draws. It's a real engineering challenge.
My imagination is picturing these massive gaming rigs with dedicated cooling systems, looking more like server racks disguised as gaming PCs. It's quite a visual, like something out of a sci-fi movie where the computer is the central character.
Pretty much. Some of these setups are a spectacle in themselves. But let's pivot to something that makes those watts worthwhile. The DLSS revolution. NVIDIA's deep learning supersampling has taken another significant leap, with DLSS 4 on the 5090, compared to DLSS 3 on the 4090. With DLSS 4's multi-frame generation, the 5090 can essentially create up to 3 extra frames for every one rendered, leading to performance boosts up to 8x in ray trace titles. It's a wizard trick.
Okay, wait. Let me get this straight. The GPU is literally making up frames to make the game smoother? It's kind of hallucinating the frames? Will machine-rendered frames replace native rendering entirely? Or is this just a temporary bridge technology?
It's not making up. In a bad way, Jenny. It's intelligently interpolating. It's using AI to predict what the next frame should look like based on motion vectors and depth information. And while it significantly boosts FPS and smooths out the experience, there are still latency considerations. It's not at times exactly times like rendering those frames natively. It's a sophisticated balance. But it's changing game development's approach to optimization.
So, does this mean game developers can get a bit relaxed on optimization? Like, NVIDIA's DLSS will fix all our performance issues. Quote. Is there a risk that studios might rely on this as a crutch rather than aiming for efficient native code?
That's a valid concern. And it's a debate that's ongoing in the industry right now. Some argue it alleviates the pressure to optimize every single facet, while others contend it allows them to push visual fidelity even further, knowing DLSS can make up the performance. It's an interesting ethical tightrope they're walking between visual ambition and raw performance.
Speaking of tightropes, let's talk about the creator quandary. Quote, you mentioned the 4090 having 24 gigabytes of VRAM being a substantial deal. Now the 5090 has 32 gigabytes. But you also said some pros are still preferring the 4090 for certain tasks. What's going on there? When would you choose VRAM capacity over raw compute?
This is where it gets nuanced, Jenny. For professional 3D rendering, incredibly detailed simulations, or especially training large AI models like Stable Diffusion XL or 13 billion parameter LLMs, the RTX 4090's 24 gigabytes of VRAM was, and still is, crucial. It's about keeping massive datasets in GPU memory rather than constantly swapping to slower system RAM, which introduces painful bottlenecks.
So for some tasks, the sheer volume of memory is more important than how fast you can cram data through it. That's like having a bigger truck versus a faster one for hauling a set amount of cargo.
Precisely. The 5090's 32 gigabytes is impressive, and its Blackwell architecture, with that tile-based rasterization and those improved tensor cores, is designed for next-gen AI acceleration. It's incredible for generative AI, like Stable Diffusion 3 workflows, where you need both VRAM and extreme AI compute. But for some existing projects, particularly those that were optimized for the 4090's 24 gigabytes, the 4090 performs remarkably well and might be more cost-effective due to its lower power and thermal demands.
So it's not always just a straight upgrade path. Fascinating. And this leads to what sounds like a new trend: hybrid build waves. Quote, are people literally putting both a 4090 and a 5090 in the same machine? I can barely fit one card in my case.
Oh, absolutely. It's wild. Especially in professional studios, or amongst serious enthusiasts. They're literally building custom workstations with a 5090 for the advanced AI acceleration and the ultimate gaming performance, and then a 4090 right alongside it to handle those VRAM-bound tasks like massive 3D scenes or specific, unoptimized AI model training. It's like having a high-speed sports car and a heavy-duty truck in the same garage, optimized for different jobs.
That's wild. I can only imagine the power consumption for times setup. It really underscores this period of strategic coexistence you mentioned. It's not just new card replaces old card anymore. It's about specialized roles and complementary capabilities.
Not at all. And it highlights a broader trend: the convergence of gaming and AI hardware requirements. Next-gen game engines, like new versions of Unreal Engine, are demanding native transformer support. It means GPUs for gaming will increasingly need those powerful AI capabilities, blurring the lines even more. We might see an entirely new AI gaming GPU category soon, tailored for both high-fidelity visuals and complex AI computations.
It also brings up ethical and societal impacts, doesn't it? The sheer power of these cards, the rapid upgrade cycle contributing to e-waste, and the cost making AI breakthroughs accessible primarily to those with deep pockets. It feels like we're inadvertently creating compute inequality, where only the well-funded can truly innovate at the bleeding edge.
That is a critical point, Jenny, and it's a discussion that's gaining traction in the industry. The energy consumption alone is a significant concern. A 575 WTBP means higher electricity bills and a larger carbon footprint, especially when scaled across thousands of users or data centers. And yes, the high cost of the 5090 centralizes AI development more, potentially limiting access for smaller research groups, independent developers, or hobbyists compared to what the 4090 enabled.
So where does NVIDIA go from here? Does this power curve just keep climbing indefinitely? Or do we see some fundamental shift in design, like the modular GPUs you've hinted at, to address these efficiency concerns?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's what everyone in the industry is asking. My sources and the latest patent filings suggest NVIDIA is heavily investing in modular GPU designs, often referred to as chiplet slicing, where they could potentially disable non-essential cores during less demanding workloads. Imagine a GPU that sips power for internet browsing or word processing, but unleashes its full potential only when you fire up an 8K game or an intense AI model. It would be a significant step towards efficiency.
That sounds like a true advancement for efficiency. Less heat, less power consumption. It could solve many of these current challenges, wouldn't it? It feels like the natural next step.
It could be a massive step. Also, look for VRAM-centric architecture shifts. We're already seeing talk of 48 gigabytes plus consumer GPUs coming, potentially using HBM3E memory, because 8K textures, multi-model AI pipelines, and increasingly elaborate game environments just demand more and more memory bandwidth. It's all about pushing boundaries in every possible vector.
Well, this has been a ride through the essence of GPU tech, from the transition paradox of the 4090 to the power crisis of the 5090 and the capabilities of DLSS 4. It's clear NVIDIA is pushing boundaries in every conceivable direction, even if it brings its own set of challenges.
Definitely. For now, the optimal strategy for many pros is that hybrid approach, or sticking with the 4090 if VRAM is paramount for their specific tasks. But the future, with modular designs and even more VRAM, is going to be incredibly compelling to watch unfold.
We'll be sure to keep you updated on all these developments in future episodes. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into NVIDIA's latest. You can find all the sources and more detailed analysis, as well as participate in our listener poll on our website, podcast.com/episode 299.
Precisely. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time for more tech insights. Stay curious, everyone.